Welcome to Voice Bootcamp, a global name in unified communication. Hi there, my name is Faisal, the CEO and founder of voicebootcamp.com. Well, in this lab, I'm going to show you how to configure Active Directory on our UCCE rack. Active Directory is a vital component of UCCE environment. It is the central location where all your user accounts as well as your contact center express settings are configured. Enterprise settings are stored, as well as the script repository. So we're going to configure our Active Directory server with AD, plus join all the other Windows server into this Active Directory as a member server. So our topology is again pretty much the same. I have an Active Directory right here, where once I configure the Active Directory, all the servers that are Windows 2008 will become a member of that particular Active Directory. So I'm right now at my Active Directory server, so I'll go to start, run, and I'm going to type DC promo. DC promo allows you to configure Active Directory on a particular server. Now while that is coming up, I'm also going to make sure that on my Active Directory I have a DNS server installed. So that is my DNS server. As you can see, it's currently up and running, and it is not configured with any information. So I can just simply change the forwarder, say change it to next DNS server, for example. So this is what I'm going to do. So if this DNS server cannot resolve it, it will go to this DNS server as a forwarder. Alright, so my DNS server is up and running, and I will wait for the Active Directory binaries to be installed and give me the steps that I need to configure the server. Okay, so it'll give you a welcome dialog box, so you can click on advanced mode, or you can just keep it simple. So click next. It's going to ask you about Windows 2008 and R2 compatibility. We're going to just continue with Windows 2000 R2 as a native. We're going to create a new domain because pod1 currently does not exist, and the fully qualified name is going to be pod1.com. I'm currently working on rack 1, so that's why we're calling this pod1.com. This name does not have to be registered with the INA, for example. This is where they're asking about the forest functional level. Because we don't have any other server other than Windows 2008 R2, we're just going to say the native functionality will be R2. So that means Windows 2003 or Windows 2008 may not be able to join this domain. Again, I'm not an expert on Microsoft, or used to be once, so you may want to check with your Microsoft engineers, but that's pretty much what it basically means. Now this is telling you that a DNS server service is already installed on this server. So the first domain controller in the forest must be the catalog, so you can go ahead next. Now it's telling us that there is an existing DNS system infrastructure for the current zone, the pod 1. It's asking us, do you want to create delegation? Now we're not going to create any delegation at this moment. Simply select no and continue. Now these are the location of the database folder, log file, and the sys volume folder. So these are default. You can continue to use this one. Now this is the password we're going to need for our Active Directory. So I'm going to keep it very simple, Voice Bootcamp. Alright, so our NetBIOS domain name will be pod1. Functional level, forest level will be 2008 R2. Domain functional level will be 2008 R2. Site name and all other necessary configuration or settings that we define are listed right here, that will be configured in the next few steps. Alright, so as you can see, the Active Directory installation is done. So we're going to go ahead and reboot the server. Alright, so as you can see, I was able to log in to my Active Directory. And if I go to the administrative tools, you'll see the Active Directory components are all installed. So Active Directory users and computers, this is where all the users will be created. So I'll go ahead and open that for you. So this is the Active Directory main user and computers management console. So here you can see the user accounts are all here. The computer accounts will go right here. So now the next step I'm going to do is go to my ICM 1A, and I'm going to join this Active Directory. Now first thing I want to verify is to make sure my network settings are correct. So using this adapter, the normal public normal, I want to make sure my DNS server is pointing to the Active Directory IP address. Once that is done, you can use the server manager, and where it says change system property and change, and we're going to try to join pod1.com. This is giving you the requirement, so asking you for the username and password of the administrator of Active Directory. So the first server ICM site A has joined the domain, so I'm going to go ahead and restart this. And while this is being restarting, I'm going to go to site B, ICM server, and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to have all the server join the domain. So this has also joined, so I'm going to go ahead and restart this. Next I will go to site CVP. As you can see, it also has joined successfully. So you go ahead and do that for every server that needs to be part of the Active Directory. Now CVP itself does not need to be in Active Directory. However, if we are going to use that server for PG or any other services, then you may need to join the domain. Otherwise, if it is just going to be used as a CVP, you don't even have to join the domain. But for centralized purposes, it makes sense sometime to be a member of a domain so that you have a central authentication. Alright, so my last server, Windows server for this is the MP. That is my management portal. Now as these servers are rebooting, what I'm going to do is go back to the AD, and in see where it says Active Directory users and computer. If I refresh this, I should see all the servers that has joined the domain, the ICM A, B, CVP A, CVP B, and the MP management portal. So that tells you that all those servers have successfully joined the Active Directory. Now as the server comes back up, we will try to log in, and this time we're going to log in as pod1.com/administrator, and the password will be voice bootcamp. So pod 1/administrator voice bootcamp. Okay, for some reason it's not liking this. We'll try to go directly to the server using the VMware. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to switch user, put pod 1 administrator and voice bootcamp. Okay, so that accepted successfully. Now it could be the remote desktop client. Sometime we may have to activate and deactivate it. So we go to configure remote desktop. Alright, so we'll try one more time. So as you can see, I was able to log in. There was a slight issue with my remote desktop settings. So after the integration, I had to disable and re-enable the remote desktop to make it work. But as you can see, my ICM server A is pointing to the domain controller. I got my ICM server B, also part of domain controller as well. Now in the domain controller itself, if I go to the Active Directory user and computers, I should be able to see all the computers' name. As you can see, they are all listed there. Now you notice how it says here CVPB is down, so that server seems to be not inactive. So I have to double check to make sure that that server is part of the domain. Okay, so this is still part of the work group, as you can see. So I'm going to change this to pod1.com. So it is welcome to part of the domain. So I'll go ahead and reboot the system. As I reboot it, I can go back to the Active Directory, do a quick refresh, and all servers you can see is now up. There is no down arrow key. Alright, so that's pretty much how you set up a server to be a member of a domain controller. Again, if it is always a good idea to have some knowledge about Microsoft Active Directory, and if needed, you may want to take some sort of quick lesson on YouTube or somewhere else. Alright, so I will go ahead and verify all the server one more time. This is my management portal, part of the domain. My CVPA is part of the domain. So all of them seems to be all registered properly. Alright, so I will see you in the next lab.